Yeah, I saw that.
But that's a blessing, bro. Yeah, that's a blessing.
It is a blessing.
Guys come.
Araldus, that's what it is, Araldus. I thought it was an R, it's Araldus. Yeah. Yeah, he got a gun.
Yeah.
Not too many people.
Hmm?
The parish.
Been here already. Oh, yeah, we did. The last lady we did. Citizen participation. That was David Lamar's ex, my grandmother.
Huh? You good?
Sure.
Agape something.
Get my glasses on so I can read.
His wife was in his ex-wife was in our church.
That's a rough year.
He was there with his aunt and grandmother.
At this time, I'd like to call the Shreveport Cattle Metropolitan Planning Commission to order. I'm going to start with we always start our meetings with an invocation and then a pledge of allegiance, and after that I'll have some opening remarks. If you care to join us, please stand at this time. Mr. Jackson?
That's it. Shall we pray? Oh, gracious God, we thank you now for this day, for life, for health and strength. We thank you for the ability to come together for the purpose of serving the citizens in both our parish and our city. We pray now that you would bless our proceedings today, that all that we do would redound to the benefit of Shreveport and Caddo Parish and the citizens who occupy her. We thank you in advance. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Mr. Remedy? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. I want to welcome everybody to the regular scheduled public meeting of the Shreveport Cattle Metropolitan Planning Commission. For hearing agenda items, if you wish to make a public comment on an application, we have MPC comment slips at the speaker stand next to the podium. For future notification purposes, it's very important that you fill out a slip and drop it in the box when you come forward to speak. When you come forward to speak, please state your full name, mailing address, zip code before addressing the board. We will call each case on the agenda in the order and hear them first from the applicant and then those speaking in favor. 10 minutes are allotted for the principal spokesperson and 3 minutes for each additional speaker. We will then hear from those wishing to speak against an application. Again, 10 minutes are allotted for the principal spokesperson and 3 minutes for each additional speaker. One representative of the application then can speak in rebuttal if desired. After hearing comments on each case, the board will then immediately deliberate and vote on that case before moving on to the next case on our agenda. Please note that when the board is deliberating, members of the public are not permitted to comment. Any member of the public may request a copy of the board's decisions on a particular case by contacting our office at 318-673-6480 after 1 p.m. tomorrow, or by accessing our website at shreveportcaddompc.com. For consent agenda items and other items not requiring a public hearing, public comments can be made upon request by filling out an MPC comment slip. If comments are requested for a specific agenda item, the chair will offer the opportunity for those comments prior to the commission taking action on the agenda item. All the MPC board's decisions are subject to appeal to either the City Council or the Parish Commission, depending on the location of the property in question. Please note that it is your responsibility to contact the appropriate governing body about their procedures as related to the matter you are concerned with. Copies of this document and phone numbers to contact the governing bodies are available on the table next to the podium and in the entryway to this room. As a courtesy, please turn off all cell phones while the MPC board is in session. And the commission, we want you to know the commission does value your testimony and appreciate your compliance with these guidelines. That is all of my opening comments. Board members, if you looked over the October 5th minutes, any comments or questions in regards to those? If not, the chair will take a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Andrews, second by Ms. Bessie for approval on the October 5th minutes. Please vote. Motion passes. Second on the next item is the approval of the minutes for October 18th, the 2016 UDC public hearing. Any comments or questions about those minutes? If not, the chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Bessie, second by Mr. Jackson for approval. Please vote. And October 18th minutes are approved. Ms. Mapp, do we have any comment cards on cases from 7 through 16? None in opposition? Thank you. Any board member have any comments or questions about cases number 7 on the agenda all the way through case number 16? If not, the chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Andrews, second by Ms. Bessie for approval. Please vote. If you're in regards to cases on the agenda from 7 through 16, those cases were just approved. We will now go in, that is the end of our consent agenda, by the way, folks. We will now go into case number 17, Westlake Development LLC. Remember, please state your name and address for the record. Westlake Development LLC.
Good afternoon. My name is Ryan Estes with Rayleigh and Associates, Engineers and Surveyors, on here on the behalf of Westlake Development LLC for here to answer any questions you have on the
Mr. Estes, give the address, I can see it for working.
4913 Shed Road, Bossier City, Louisiana, 71111.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Estes in regard to single-family residence off West Point? Mr. Remedy? Oh, well, no, you punch that button. We're going to stay on cue. Mr. Remedies.
Has your firm worked through this project, or is it just you guys work with them just on this section?
No, we've done extensive work within Long Lake subdivision. I think going back to this is Unit 23. It's definitely been 10 years.
Okay,
plus.
that's what was my okay. And we just had some discussion. There was some concern when looking at this initially. Moving forward, may want to consider that back entrance when we get closer because of the amount of time it takes the emergency response of the vehicle. So just forward thinking, not pertaining to this case, we just want to say that, put that on the table next time that you guys are meet to when he fills this up and wants to start the next section.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Any other? Thank you, Mr. Estes. Anybody else like to speak in favor?
Steve Simon, 1066 North Point Circle, Shreveport, 71106. To address Mr. Remedi's question about a back entrance, we have talked to the property owner, and with the next takedown of property, would put in a rear entrance off of
Very
those.
good. Okay. Wonderful.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Estes.
Well,
Thank you for your development in Shreveport. Simon, sorry. The other one is Mr. Estes. And I write them down so I don't get them wrong and I still get them wrong.
Okay.
Anybody else like to speak in favor? Anybody like to speak in opposition to this case? Seeing none, any comment cards, Ms. Knapp? No? Thank you. Comments from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Remedy, second by Ms. Bessie for approval. Please vote. Motion carries. We will go to case number 18, Westlake Development, LLC. You have to do it all over again, Mr. Estes.
Ryan Estes, Rayleigh and Associates, 4913 Shed Road, Bossier City, Louisiana, here on behalf of Westlake Development LLC for the preliminary and final plat of Unit 23 Long Lake subdivision. Here to answer any questions you may have.
Comments, questions, board? Thank you, Mr. Estes. Anybody else like to speak in favor? Anybody like to speak in opposition? Comments from the board? Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Ms. DeMarteau, second by Ms.
Stipulation.
Stips.
With steps, yes.
The steps are
Well, you got to understand is that unless this zoning case is approved, this plat wouldn't be valid because the lots would be smaller than the minimum required for RA zoning. It's just as a contingency so that if When this goes to the parish commission, which I don't think they'll turn it down, if they approve it, then everything falls into place.
Got it.
Yes.
I have a motion by Ms. DeMarteau with
Yes,
Stips,
Stips.
seconded by Mr. Colvin. Please vote. Motion's approved. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all very much.
Next, I have case number 19, C-7516, Deborah Vance Moselle. We have a letter on file for a wish to defer and continue this until the December 7th meeting.
That is correct, sir.
We need to do official motion and second to do so.
Second.
Oh, did that correct? Discussion, please. Mr. Remedies, as soon as you push the button, I got you. Thank you. We had discussed, just so we don't allow things to just stay on our agenda in perpetuity, that the staff would send Ms. Moselle a letter and explain to her that this would be because we've continued it several times, we would continue it until, is it December?
December 7th.
Okay. We would continue till December 7th, but after that, she would either need, if she didn't have everything in place, she needs to withdraw because we're not going to continue to leave this on our agenda every month. I just think it's a little
I agree.
unprofessional.
I
So,
agree.
we want to work with everyone, but we don't want things to just hang out on the agenda forever because
That's right.
that would cause a lot of paperwork. So, Mr.
Plus,
Jackson.
in the past, y'all used to have a lot of cases that got deferred and
Oh,
continued, and we don't do that as a tradition anymore, so we try to be very focused about not letting that happen, so.
Mr. Jackson, you want to add that step, that they have to do something by December 7th?
I'll accept that. Mine was just the motion to
Accept the deferral.
defer till December. I don't know what the stipulation you're adding to it.
Well, we're just saying that this would be the last one because we've done it several times. We keep
Deferring
kicking the
it.
can down the road over and over again.
Right. I guess, Mr. Chairman, I was wondering whether we needed to have that stipulation because in December we could just deny it.
Well, by giving them the letter, Mr. Jackson, what it does is it gives them the option to withdraw the application, because if they withdraw it, they can come back 2 months later. If we deny it,
So the
they can't
stipulation is to give them a letter saying that that's our disposition.
that you either can get it right, or you can withdraw it, and if you withdraw it, they can come back 2 months later and with a whole new application. But if we deny it, they're barred for 12 months from coming back.
Not a
And that's-
problem.
Not a problem?
So move with those stipulations.
Second.
And so I have a motion with those stipulations by Mr. Darren Jackson, second by Ms. Bessie. With those stipulations, please vote. And motion carries. Now I'll move to case number 20. I'll probably butcher this, Providius Property Management LLC. Case number C-7816.
Didn't butcher it that bad. Josh Knowles, Providus Property Management, 3560 Uri Drive. We're here requesting a rezoning from R3 to a B1 for 864 Olive Street, where we're going to move the majority of our operations once we get that.
Any questions for Mr. Knowles? Thank you, Josh. Anybody else like to speak in favor of this application?
Ben Walker, 315 Fannin Street, Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm representing the current owner of that property, the family Center for Families, and just here to support this rezoning.
Thank you. Please give that to Ms. Mount. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Any questions for Mr. Walker? Or Mr. Remedies, did you have a question, Mr. Walker? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, sir. Anybody else like to speak in favor? Anyone like to speak in opposition to this rezoning? Comments from the board? Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
With steps.
With Stips.
So moved by Ms. Bessie with Sips, second by Mr. Jackson. Please vote. We got it. And the motion carries unanimous. Thank y'all. Thank you for your investments report as well. We'll move to case number 21, SC 113-16, Moore and Associates, Larkin Development at Railsback LLC. Mr. Craig, come on down. It's going to be Mr. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Larkin, come on down.
Chairman, I'm standing in for Mr. Craig.
Well, I saw Mr. Craig stand up, and you were hiding over somewhere over there, so.
Mr. Chairman, Timothy Larkin, I'm president of Larkin Development at Railsback, the owner and the developer of the Esplanade neighborhood community. Our company is addressed at Post Office Drawer 5820, Bossier City, 71171. Before you is our request for a final plat for the north side of Cross Ridge Court, identified as Unit 6A of the Esplanade subdivision. I first appeared before the MPC in June of 2006, just over 10 years ago, with the application to approve a master plan and the associated zoning for the Esplanade community neighborhood. The MPC approved the master plan and the zoning for the neighborhood, then recommended approval, of course, to the governing body, and the zoning became law in the year 2007. Since that time, Larkin Development at Railsback has filed and platted 6 units of development for a total of approximately 138 lots, each fulfilling master plan expectations. And like the previous 6 lots that were platted and approved, the plat before you, Unit 6A of the subdivision, meets all of the technical requirements for approval. Voluntarily, Larkin Development phased the development of the Esplanade property in a manner that held Unit 6 to the last, so it would be timed to be platted behind all of the others. So at present, all of the land in the master plan, other than this part, is presently platted, and the previous 5 plats that were proposed are fully constructed. Your records will show that back in May of 2014, Larkin Development at Railsback applied for approval of a plat for Esplanade Unit 6. And at the hearing for the approval of that plat, the MPC asked Larkin Development, would we voluntarily exclude certain lots from the plat application. Those were identified at that time as lots 2001 through 2003 and 2000 through 2003. Larkin Development agreed to that request at the hearing. A motion to approve the modified plat was made, and it failed, 3-4. The MPC then denied any subdivision of Unit 6, which denied development of the land in that area in accordance with the approved zoning and master plan. We disagreed with that finding, and very respectfully requested that the body that hears appeals, the city council in this case, we took an appeal to them. That appeal included the voluntary exclusion of the sites offered for voluntary exclusion to the MPC. The city council appeal was granted, and Unit 6 of Esplanade was approved. Since that time, we've sold our site inventory down, planned our engineering of the infrastructure of Unit 6, and we're ready to proceed with the construction of that unit. So the plat before you, Unit 6A, represents only those lots that front the street that we will build for Unit 6. And so I'll just say that it is no longer practical for us to delay the development of the property, and it is for that reason that we're here today to request approval of those sites. Comment about the inner loop. For many years, the idea of extending or modifying the inner loop has been under consideration and well known to us. At least for the last 10 years, while it has been under consideration, it has made sense to us to plan the development of Esplanade in such a way as to avoid conflict with any plans that might possibly result in a decision that would place a highway on our property. Our hope has been over that 10-year period that something could be determined so that if planners wanted to use the property, to take it, and if they didn't, then we would go ahead and finish up the development. We're no longer in a position to continue to wait for a determination. Now, here, 10 years later, we have consumed the master plan that you approved, and this before you is what remains. And so, kind of makes it plain and simple and pretty easy to understand. We no longer have the capacity or the time or the option to delay the use of land. We've just finally got to the end. So we've reached a point where we must employ it for the purposes that you entitled it for. And taking all that into consideration, it's our request that you grant approval of Esplanade Unit 6A. I think your staff report of the proposed unit found no technical difficulties, so we didn't have anything else to present to you other than what I have. And so we don't have any other proponents of this. And pleasure of the board, if you'd like to ask me some questions or perhaps hear from others and then follow your lead.
Any questions from Mr. Larkin? Mr. Remedies? So, just so I'm clear, y'all sold or transferred all of the lots that were currently platted in the neighborhood? They've all been sold and transferred to others?
No, they've all been built. Of the lots that we have built, presently have about of ones that don't have sales agreements, there are approximately, as of today, 10 lots.
So there's 10.
Still offered for sale.
Yeah, we're talking about the ones before your plat here. There's 10 out of how many total that you had? Does it look like 50 or?
Out of, about that, probably 90. I think there would be 90 lots. Out of 90 would be in units 1 through 5. That's correct.
I can't hear. Can you speak up a
Speak
little
it
bit? I can't hear you.
Bend that up. You're kind of a tall gentleman. There you go. That'll be better.
Yes.
I didn't hear anything that you said.
Restate what you answered to Mr. Remedies.
Yeah, he was, I think he was trying to get an idea of how many lots we have remaining to sell. Put
Well,
another
what's
way.
your capacity, like what you started with versus what you had, with the, to determine the need of?
Yeah, we got approximately 10 lots. 10 finished lots we could sell in the morning.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? Ms. Nick?
I just wanted to hear what he said.
Mr. Larkin, one easy, quick question. I'm assuming you started a lot with 001, and then you just numbered them down, or 01 or whatever. I'm looking at your plats, and this is starting from, say, 159 to 173 for Unit 6, correct? That's the numbering I see on there? Is that fair to say? So you had about 158 lots
Well-
total before this section, correct?
I'm just looking at numbers, so I don't have the whole plat map
I
to
can
look
see
at
where
it,
that
so
could
I'm
be
assuming.
confusing. The numbering actually has a little void in it.
Okay,
Prior to Unit 6, there's approximately 90 lots in Units 1 through 5.
okay,
But they don't happen to be numbered that way, and that is because when we did Unit 4, we re-subdivided Unit 4.
got it.
And we changed lot numbers, and numerically, they don't match.
I was just looking at the numbers, and I was trying to figure out, you said 90, and then this one's at 159, and now 6. I was wondering if there was a renumbering that went on that caused it to drop from, so you've got about 90 lots before this group of lots.
Looking, that map is very useful. When you look at that map right there, then the portion of that, let's see. So the part of the development that's built there and has the 10 lots remaining would be the following portion. I'm going to run my pen around. That area. So the streets and the water and the sewer and all the utilities are in that park,
Okay.
and of uncommitted lots in there. There's around 10. I mean, don't hold me to the exact number, but they're all developed, and they're all totally complete. And so what we're prepared to build now and to complete is the following unit I'm going to run around, which is right here. When we build that street right there, these lots will front. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, Mr. Larkin? Thank you, Mr. Larkin. Anybody else like to speak in favor of this application? Anybody like to speak in opposition to this application? No. Any comments, Ms. Mapp, on this particular one? Thank you, ma'am. Comments from the board? And/or, if not, I'll entertain a motion. Don't all speak at once. Mr. Sweeney, you want to throw 2 cents into this during our deliberation?
Do I have to request to speak of this?
Yes. Thank you, Ms. DeMarco.
Can you, Mr. Sweeney, can you kind of refresh us? I think I know where the 31, 32 studies have, feasibility studies, whatever, have progressed to? And what's the timing of your decision on the proposed route?
Yes, ma'am. Being a member of the MPO board at NLCOG, we were just given a summary and overview of the 3132 project at our last meeting. And in that meeting, it was stated that we have the 2 alternatives, B1 and B2. And both of those are under review and consideration. The MPO board will be making, it is anticipated, will be making a final decision on the preferred route, possibly as early as February of 2017. And that would then be forwarded on to the state and federal highway folks to let them know what the preferred route is. It would also then eventually become part of the regional transportation or thoroughfare plan that is underway or soon to be underway for our region being developed, and this would become a pivotal component of that thoroughfare plan.
Do I have to request again?
Go right ahead. I think you still have the floor.
Thank you. So if you took, you said B1 and B2 proposed routes for 31, 32, overlaid them on this application,
Yes, ma'am.
where would those sit? Would they sit into this land?
Considering that the upper portion of the route is the same for both B1 and B2, we discovered by the maps that were provided to us from NLCOG that 12 of the 15 lots proposed here would fall within that right-of-way of this corridor for 3132.
12 of the 15th.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anybody else? Questions, comments?
Um,
Mr. Remedes?
So if we denied it, he would have to wait for a year to come back, and that would, but in that time, there would be a decision made. You said something about February, but I wasn't listening.
Yes, the MPO board will be making a decision about which of these routes they prefer to recommend, and that decision is anticipated by February of 2017.
February, okay.
Yes.
About 4 months. Okay. And it's going to be either one of the two that's going to go through here, right?
Yes, sir.
Or it could be a no build.
It could be, but based on what's going on right now, I would say that that's not likely. I'm not the final authority on that, but I would say that's not likely.
But let's just say that the no bill did come back. Would the applicant still be blocked from applying?
If they decide to do the no bill, certainly the applicant could come back and reapply.
Well, because normally it's 12 months, right?
Yes. But it would be, you're right, it'd have to be a year.
Could that be stiff? Could we stiff it as an ordinance or law? or-
No, sir. In this situation, I don't think you can, because I can't give you an assurance of exactly what pieces will come together to make that work.
Yeah, but well, what I was looking for is if we stiffed it, that the decision would trigger an opportunity to apply and not a definitive time. I'm just looking for solutions.
That's an
here.
ordinance revision.
Okay, yeah, that's, yeah.
And I don't think we have the authority to
Okay,
do that.
that's.
We could certainly propose it, but it wouldn't affect this case.
Yeah, okay.
Good idea.
And you can't defer it because there is a 60-day clock, which means that even if you take no action within 60 days, it is automatically approved by state law.
Today or never?
It's, yeah, you either.
Vote, you vote or
yes
you have no,
or
no say so?
No in between.
Mr. Jean, you want to
Yeah,
throw
well,
something?
just wanted to clarify, the only way it could be deferred is with the permission of the applicant.
That is correct.
If the applicant waived their right to have it approved in 60 days, it could be deferred under those circumstances.
And we need to have that in writing from the applicant so that we could say the clock now stops.
Okay. Any other comments from the board members? If not, the chair will entertain a motion. What, who? Further discussion? Anybody have any further discussion? Mr. Remedes?
Well, I'm just looking for some type of solution where
Does it
common
have
ground, I guess, is what I'm looking for.
something that's not so punitive?
I mean, I understand where if I own the property, I would want to wait in perpetuity for the government to make a decision. However, looking for the greater good of everyone in the city, I don't want to block something that could be. So I can see both sides of the argument, so I'm looking for middle ground here. And
Unfortunately, I think a state law has got your hands.
no, I
tied on that.
understand, but there's always creative ways. So that's all I was looking for discussion. If anybody else had any ideas, then you stay on.
Yes, Mr.
I don't know what to say, other than it goes back to when this discussion, yeah. It goes back to when we looked at this case before. We looked up our obligations or our guidelines and our ordinances and bylaws and all those kind of things and studied it really, really hard, because I agree with Mr. Remedes about, you have a person that has this and you don't want to block them forever.
Right.
But we do have the greater good of the community, and we've gotten a lot further, the DOT has gotten a lot further down the road and down, no pun intended, on getting this 3132 in the feasibility studies, and it's supposed to have a decision. I mean, we're to 2 routes or a no build. So I'm going to stand by, I guess. I'll be the one to make a motion. I'll be the bad guy, I guess, to deny, because the majority of the proposed subdivision appears to be located in the pathway of the potential future corridor of the Highway 3132. Period.
I have a motion by Ms. DeMarteau to deny based upon her statement. We'll let that say.
I'll second.
I have a second by Ms. Cooper. Any other further discussion? We'll give everybody a chance. If not, I'll call for the vote. Please vote. Ms. Smith, one more time. Yes. And motion carries 8-1. Mr. Paulson voting no. That brings us to the end of our public hearings. We will now move on to other business. Mr. Sweeney, you want to give a master plan update?
Sure. Let me provide you with that information. So, having gotten through our 2 public hearings, as y'all are all very aware of, and y'all recommended approval with the amendments that were presented on the 18th of October. We are now in the process of preparing the documentation for both the City Council as well as the Parish Commission to make a presentation about the Unified Development Code as recommended for adoption by this body. We anticipate, this is not in concrete, that we would be making that presentation to the parish perhaps on the 17th of November and to the City Council perhaps by the 22nd of November. We do have a joint work session with the City Council and the parish scheduled for Friday at 2 o'clock in the Mayor's Conference Room, in which it will not be a case where people can make comments, and it will be merely a conversation and a review of the amendments that we proposed from the 18th. So I wanted to let you all know that just came up all of a sudden. It's not something we knew about. We were talking about it, but it didn't come into reality until yesterday.
Talking about the Friday meeting?
No, not tomorrow is our meeting.
Yes.
Is at 10 o'clock. And then there's a joint meeting with the City Council and the parish on the 4th, which is Friday, at 2 o'clock.
Here.
No, in the Mayor's Conference.
Mayor's Conference Room.
Are we supposed to be there?
Now, again, I want you to understand that is a conversation. There won't be any votes taken, just a conversation about what the amendments mean, what does that entail, and they won't be taking comments from the public, so it'll be merely a conversation process with the intention of the goal was to get both bodies on the same page so that when they do take a final vote, their changes or variations will be essentially the same. They won't be in opposition to each other. So that was the goal. And this was pursued, President Matthew Lynn asked that we do this, and we were trying to make it happen. Didn't think it was going to happen, and then yesterday we found out it was going to happen. So I wanted y'all to be aware of that. So that's very good progress. That means that everyone is serious, and this means that it will give us a chance in a more informal setting to explain things rather than be out here in a more formal situation. So it'll help expedite the process when we do actually make our presentation later in the month.
Got it. Mr. Coleman, I think, had a question.
Mark, tomorrow's at 10 o'clock, right?
Well, that's just for Alan and me, yes.
Okay. And then Friday's at 2 o'clock?
Yes.
But, that's first I heard of that, about them calling that. Was that called by Matthew or the mayor?
By Matthew.
And the city council's gonna be there too?
Yes.
Wow. So, they're gonna go over all the amendments that were made that night that we had in the open forum.
Yes.
Well, doesn't that get back to what Matthew's always said about these groups and bodies that is done behind the scenes? Why wouldn't they?
Well, it's an open meeting. It's an open meeting. It's open to the public.
But no public input to it.
Right. But you can come as an audience, can be and observe the conversation. From what I understand, they may decide to have public comments, but I don't know that they are. That right now, from my understanding, it is merely a workshop session of conversation between the parish and the city council. We're not setting the agenda. Let me explain. We're not putting the agenda together. So.
Okay. I'm just saying that we had that public meeting. If we were worried about the amendment, they could have been at that one, number one. And then number two is, when the next meeting comes up to the public, we could go over them, just like you went over them that night, to get them. So, to me, it would appear that some would want to make some changes without being in the public at a conference room instead of down here in the chambers. That's just my opinion.
Well, but understand they're not going to take a vote on anything. So anybody can make a statement, but that doesn't change anything.
I got you.
So anything that y'all approve will stay the same when we go to the later meetings in November. This is meant to be just a dialogue of what are your issues, what are your concerns, and then if they want to propose amendments, they can. But in this meeting, there will be no vote for making additional changes. Just want to make that real clear. It's just a dialogue.
Right. But you see my concern, right?
Sure, and
Because
it is
I've heard
open-
that I've been here 10 years, I've heard that
Well-
it's decided behind the scenes instead of out in the forum.
It's posted, and
I
they
got you.
posted it in the paper, so I mean, it's posted now.
But it may be easier to have it down here than to have it in a conference room.
And again, we were not in control of the
I
meeting.
got you.
So if we were, I totally understand where you're coming from.
Right.
Mr. Remedies had something, Mr.
Yes.
Sweeney?
No, I was just going to respond to what Dale was saying. I was in part of the city council meeting when they were talking, and I just wanted to clear that up for you and put on the record that, from what I took from it, at least for the meeting tomorrow, what they're looking to do is, first of all, if they have a meeting here, the commissioners and the council,
Don't have
someone
place
would have to
sits.
sit down there, so someone has to
Okay.
take a back seat. Second of all, at some point, you do have to stop taking comments from the public, and the people that are making the decision have to just go back and forth and debate. But mostly what they were looking to do, from what I gathered from their conversation, was, okay, what problems does the commission have with it? What problems does the city council have with it? And let's work together before we start looking to approve it without this and end up in a gridlock.
Yep, and two separate
Yeah,
bodies.
so and it was said that the public's welcome to come, and if you have they're not going to vote on it, so if you hear of something that's of concern, just go talk to your city councilman or parish commissioner at that point. But those meetings take so long, when a lot of times you may get comments from someone that just don't understand how the process works. And so I think that was the intent, and not everything they do is good. I just wanted to say that I didn't feel like they were looking to be deceitful. It was open to anyone, but they were just looking to get everybody around the conference table and to say, okay, what do y'all have a problem with? What do we have a problem with? And how can we move this forward without wasting lots and lots of time and having more and more meetings? So they're just trying to narrow it down and
And that's why I emphasize what you're saying. It is simply a work session to get things out in the open, to bring things to the surface, and for us as the staff to answer questions that sometimes have come up since then. It will do wonders to making the subsequent meetings, where there's a public hearing and comments and all that, go a lot faster because of this work session. So we're getting all our stuff together to make this happen, and so I just wanted to make you all aware of this. A lot of things are happening very quickly, but it's a positive sign that both bodies are now getting very engaged in the process.
and the public will have an opportunity to come to the council
Oh,
and commission
sure,
meetings
sure.
and put their comments on the record.
Sure.
So that's what I was told by some of the commissioners
Yes.
and council
Yes.
that I
What
spoke
blows
with.
my mind is they found an hour this close to into the budget.
I
timeframe
know
to
it, and
Put an
that's
hour
why
out there for that.
When I walked away from the city council meeting last week, I was assuming this joint session thing, which had been proposed to me, was not going to happen. And then I get this message, we're ready to go, and I'm going, oh, okay. So anyway, but anyway, I wanted to let you know that. So I mentioned that, and so let's segue into other staff reports, and that would include the following. If you're interested in knowing what site plans have been approved by me, the executive director, it is now on the website. Good. If you go under agendas and decisions, you'll find that it says site plans, and it lists out who the applicant was, what the project is about, and a copy of the actual site plan. So you can see all of that information now on the website. The other thing too is we have now started posting the videos of the MPC, and we went ahead and added ZBA to that. So both MPC and ZBA videos will now be viewable starting as of, I think, October. We went back at the October meeting, and going forward, we will show all those videos so that if you want to see that, you miss a meeting, you want to find out what was said or what tone it was said in, you can go back and see that.
Which section is that under?
It's under the agendas, decisions. Agendas and decisions, I think.
Can you make whoever is handling the IT, at least my computer's been really hard to navigate this.
We're having issues with these computers. It's just
Okay.
really.
None of the Google Maps or
No.
the Google, what is it, Street View, they wouldn't come up this
I
way.
know, and I'm sorry. Right now, we're having, even the city council, when they get here, lately, we've been doing hand votes. It's just been crazy. So yes, you're right, it's pretty bad. The other thing I wanted you to know was that the report on the firearms free zones is forthcoming. I've had Alan Clark been doing a significant in-depth research on that, and I'll have a report for you that here shortly. Probably within the next few days, you'll get something by email, and Ms. Bessie will be sure you get it by mail, and you'll be able to see what information we found on that issue that Ronnie had brought up about the firearms requirement. And then the other thing I wanted to mention to you is that December 9th is our holiday party. I mentioned that last time. That's on a Friday, and it'll be at Country Tavern, and we'll give you more information about that in the near future. So that's all my reports, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Do we have any information on the national convention for next year yet?
On the what?
National convention?
Of course, it's in New York.
Right.
And instead of being in the first part of May, it is the first part of April. It's the first part of May this year.
Really?
They moved it.
Get a little warmer.
Unfortunately, it misses our meeting date. So we're very pleased about that.
So we don't have to move another date?
No, but it now pushes. But that's good because if you've ever been to New York in early April, it's pretty chilly and cold.
Yep.
And I think the last time I was at that conference back in '99, it was, or 2000, it was pretty uncomfortable. So I think moving it to May is better.
Do you know the dates?
I think it's, I want to say May 4th through the 6th.
6 through 9.
6th through the 9th. I'm sorry.
6th through the
Is he telling me better? 6th through the 9th.
Thank you. That's all I have on that.
I got that. Chairman.
Any other, are you done, Mr.
Chairman.
Cole?
I'm sorry.
I don't know what to tell you.
She blocked you. That's what happened.
me out.
She blocked you out. All right, I'll just go by Mr.
I want to go
Collins.
about old business. The nominating committee has met.
Okay,
Brought this up last time. Can we bring this up now?
yes, we can, but we have to have actually a motion and a vote to suspend the bylaws to allow the vote today
I'll make
instead of
that
December
motion.
meeting. Are you making that motion? Mr. Collins made a motion to suspend the bylaws to have a vote today instead of in December meeting, was seconded by Dr. Pennywell. Any comments or questions on that? To suspend the bylaws in order to vote today? If not, please vote. Can we vote on this? Do we have them still up? No? We will do this by hand. Don't worry about that. All those in favor, please raise your hand. And it is unanimous.
Right? The nominating committee met and made the following recommendations. Alan Young to stay the chairman, Ronnie Remedies the vice chairman, Nancy Cooper as the secretary, and Leah Martello as the past chairman. That's the motion.
That's the motion. Mr. Sweeney, it was my understanding, and you had a different opinion on this, that it came from a committee, which is a committee of four, basically it's a first and a second, and I got an opinion that if it came from a committee, it didn't need a second.
That's true. There is no need for a motion or a second on that.
Okay, so that's the recommendation, basically, is what the committee is making that recommendation. Okay, I just want to make sure I got that correct according to Robert's Rules of Order. Dr. Pennywell, question?
Can I make some other recommendations?
Yes, you absolutely can.
I'd like to make a recommendation of Reverend Jackson for the chair, Attorney Cooper for the vice chair, and Mr. Andrews for the secretary.
Okay, so that would be a substitute motion. How do we handle that under Robert's Rules?
Well, what you can do is take the nomination of the two people running and cast a vote and go from chair to vice chair to secretary, which means then in this case you would do you and Mr. Jackson for chair, and then second would be for the vice chair between Ronnie and Nancy, and then the third would be with Windsor and whatever, I couldn't remember what the other one is.
It would be Windsor and
And Nancy.
Nancy.
Fine.
yes, Ms. Bessie.
I'm just making a, which I really don't understand. I can understand the amendment, but I do know that the chair, it is, 2 years for each chair, vice president, and all. That's what we've been doing. I don't care what you do now, but I'm just wondering. I know that's what we've been doing in the past, and I do know chair is very good, each chair for 2 years, vice president. So that's just my reason. That's why I was wondering.
Okay. From what I understand, based on that, we'll need to do it one at a time.
That's correct.
So we'll stick with the chair first. We'll do it as 2 separate votes. I've seen the city council do this. You get 1 vote. You get to vote 1 time only. We'll have to do it by raising hands since we don't have a tally vote. Board?
Can I make one suggestion before we go forward?
Yes, sir, Mr. Cole.
What Betsy was saying is, in the past, they rotated through. You just didn't come in and get stuck in the chairman's seat. You came up through secretary, vice chair, then the chairman. We're not going to do that anymore?
Well, in our bylaws, it's not required.
Oh, I thought it was in the bylaw.
No. And the 2-year term was just something that was just something you did as an interim step when you were having the master plan and stuff like that. But it's not required in the bylaws.
So when the slate comes out of the nominating committee, it doesn't come out as a slate?
It can.
When that's the way it came out before.
Right.
Yeah.
But the chair has to offer nominations from the floor.
Mhm.
That's required.
Mr. Jackson.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if it will make it simpler to do it, but since it did come out of committee as a slate, we could vote on the slate, and then since there's other nominations, if there's a need at that point, then you could entertain those, assuming the slate was not successful.
I think I would have to have that as a motion from you to do so. That would take precedence over the previous 2 motions. It would be a substitute motion to the first substitute to the original motion. So if you want to offer that as a substitute motion, we'll handle that as a substitute motion first.
And that would be versus going down.
You would handle yours first. If that failed, then we move to the second option. If that would actually determine then which way we would go. So if you want to offer it as a substitute motion, you may.
Okay.
Is that your desire?
So moved.
So move. I have a motion by Mr. Jackson, second by Ms. Bessie for substitute motion to vote on the original slate that came out of the nominating committee first. Any other comments on that original slate? If not, I think we have a tote board now. We can now vote on the
I'm a
electronic tote
little
board.
confused of what we're voting on,
We're voting on the original slate that came out of the
which
committee.
is chair,
Me as chair, Ronnie as vice chair, and Nancy, and then you're still
that's
with
what we're voting on.
That is what we're voting on. That is correct. Ms. Cooper, I have nothing on yours.
That's not the vote.
That's not showing up.
That's not showing my vote.
Not showing your vote? Is it voting incorrectly?
That's voting incorrectly.
Okay, then let's do this. Let's forget the tote board. We're going to have to go by, unless she can get it fixed. Huh?
That's not the right vote.
No, that's not the vote.
Oh.
There's the vote. That was just saying you had
That
voted.
was the former vote.
Okay. It is four Nancy's is not going.
So what are you voting on? Are you voting on the substitute motion?
Mr. Jackson's motion to take the original slate. Okay.
We're voting on the original, see, we're getting confused.
Yes, you are.
We are voting on
The original slate.
the original slate for who's going to be officer.
Correct. That
Which
is
the
it.
original slate is you, Ronnie, and Nancy.
And yours is the past chair. That's
Thank
correct. Very good.
Let's vote.
Let's see if it'll work this time. Please vote.
Nope.
Nope, it didn't work.
Wait a minute.
It's not
No,
working.
that's just saying status. Push your vote, yes or no. Push your vote and you'll show it.
it's not, you're not understanding, it's not.
Let's do it by hand.
Yes, we're going to have to do it by hand.
Trying to-
Okay, we're going to do this by hand. Forget the tote board. All those in favor of the substitute motion. Okay, there, did it come up? No, it didn't come up. Okay. And because this is probably going to be a split vote, I'll need to hold them up long enough for me to actually call them out, correct? All right, here we go. This is substitute motion by Theron Jackson, for us to accept the nominating committee's original slate of officers. If you are in favor of that slate, please raise your hand in favor. I have Miss Bessie, I have Ronnie, I have Alan Young, and I have Dale Colvin. If you're opposed to those, I have Ms. DeMarteau, Dr. Pennywell, Nancy Cooper, I have Windsor, and I have Theron Jackson. So that motion fails. We are now back to the first substitute motion that we have, which is an alternative slates. We will vote on those independently. The first one we'll handle is the chair.
Can I remove my motion and make a substitute motion?
Yeah.
All right.
Why are we voting independently? I thought we were doing as a slate.
I remove
No,
my
Mr.
motion.
Sweeney said we had to do it independently. That's what he said.
I'm sorry, you can do it either way. Either way. You can do it one at a time for each office, or you can do it as a slate.
Mr. Colvin?
I remove my initial motion and make the substitute motion as Ronnie as a chairman to roll up to where Alan's at. Okay? Nancy to roll up to where Ronnie's at, and Windsor to roll up as secretary.
Okay,
still have to
remember,
vote.
you don't have to take a motion for nominations, and there's no seconding of it. So be aware of that.
So I have a,
So we still have to vote on the second slate.
do I do the first original slate, or I do now Mr. Colvin? Who now has put
No,
in,
not, but you had, the other slate was already introduced, which is the one that says Theron is the chair, Nancy is the vice chair, and Windsor is the secretary.
okay, from what I understand, we would actually have to nominate it now, because now I have 3 nominations for chair, 3 nominations for
And you
vice chair.
can do it, and you can break
So
it
what
down
we're going to have to do is
individually if you
we're going
want
to have to do a vote, narrow it down between 2 candidates, and then take
So
it to
if you want to open it up and say from the floor, I'll take nominations for the chair.
All right, this is the nominations for the chair. I know Leah has given, I think, what, no, Dr. Pennywell, I'm sorry, put Theron's name in. You have given Ronnie's name in there. And since we've already voted, this is going to be a selfless act on my part. Since we've already voted that I'm not going to be the chair,
No, you can take another nomination.
I could take another nomination,
No,
but my name's
you
not
already
in there already.
voted.
You've already voted.
He's not gonna be the chair?
It's still-
Is that what they said?
Wait a second.
Mr. Jackson?
Mr. Chairman, unless somebody closes the floor for nominations, you can
Right.
still nominate anybody.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
what
I have
I'm
2
saying.
nominations for chair right now. I
And
have
I make a
Theron Jackson, and I have Ronnie Remedies as chair.
And I have
Motion
a
and
nomination.
nomination.
And Ronnie has a nomination?
Yeah, I nominate you to be chair for your second term, like you.
And I nominate.
We already voted.
already
That's-
voted.
But that was a
We didn't
slate.
vote on
I
that.
understand.
That was
This
a
is
slate.
Mr.
I think it's
Mr.
different to vote individually.
This is individually, so, Mr. Andrews.
No, I had motioned that the nomination closed on those 2 names, and then you took a third motion.
On what two names?
Mr. Remedies and Theron. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Andrews?
Correct.
That's correct.
But he didn't recognize, he recognized, oh, excuse me. Mr.
Yes,
Chair-
Mr. Jackson.
Chairman, you did, Mr. Andrews did that, but it wasn't, you didn't recognize him, so he did take a third nomination before he was recognized. So it wouldn't be, I think, appropriate at this point to close under those 2 names since we did accept the third nomination.
Okay, so we're gonna parse this out. So, all right, and any more nominations from the floor? If none, then what we're gonna do, everybody gets a single vote for a name.
Can I nominate somebody? Say what?
I have 3 nominations. I have Mr. Remedies, I have Mr. Jackson, and myself have been nominated. Those 3 are the nominations for the chair. The way this works is you get 1 vote. We're going to parse it down from the first 3 candidates to 2 candidates, and then from there we'll go to the winner, who will be the chair for next year. Okay? Am I correct? I've seen city council do this when they did nominations and I got appointed. This is how they had to do it. They had to get it down to 2, and then they went to 1, unless somebody got a majority on the first vote, which is a potential. Yes, Dr. Pennywell?
Yeah, now you said you go back to you, Mr. Remedies, and then Theron Jackson. It should go back to Theron and you.
Well, somebody nominated Mr. Remedies, so they opened it
Not
up.
originally.
Not originally, but it was brought up.
And you can take as
And I'm
many
deferring to our
nominations.
executive director to keep us on
You
track.
can take as many nominations from the floor as you wish.
Does anybody have any other nominations? If not, I'm going to take a tally vote. Everybody gets 1 single vote. You can vote 1 person only, and I will call out the names of who you're voting for. Okay? Mr. Jackson's name was mentioned first, so I'm going to go to Mr. Jackson's. Mr. Remedies was second, and then we'll come to my name third because I was the last one nominated. All those in favor of Mr. Jackson as the new chair for the 2017 year, please raise your hand. I have Windsor Andrews, I have Theron Jackson, I have Nancy, I have Dr. Pennywell, and I have Leah. If my tally is correct, that is 5 votes. It matters not what happens from this point on. That is 5 votes, and he is now going to be chair for 2017. We will now move on to the nominations for vice chair.
Correct.
Okay? I will accept nominations from the floor. I have an original nomination from Dr. Pennywell. That would be Nancy Cooper. Theron. No, nothing. I have any other nominations besides Miss Nancy Cooper?
Ronnie Remedies.
Yeah, Ronnie.
Ronnie Remedies. I have 2 names. Ronnie Remedies, Nancy Cooper. Any other nominations from the floor? Please, we will do these in the order of nomination. Once again, Nancy Cooper was first, Ronnie Remedies was second. All those in favor of Nancy Cooper as the chair, please raise your hand.
Vice chair.
I'm sorry, vice chair. Sorry, thank y'all. All those in favor, please raise your hand. I have Leah, I have Dr. Pennywell, I have Nancy Cooper, I have Windsor, and I have Theron Jackson. That nomination carries, since it was 5 votes. For secretary, Dr. Pennywell mentioned Mr. Andrews. Any other, there was no other nomination. I have no other.
Dale mentioned him the second time.
Do what?
Dale mentioned him the second time.
So I have Windsor. Anybody else for secretary?
I'm not Mr. Young.
Do what? Me?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. All right, so we'll go this in order. Mr. Andrews was nominated first. All those in favor, please raise your hand. I have Leah, I have Dr. Pennywell, I have Nancy, I have Bessie, Theron, and Theron Jackson and Windsor. So that's 6 votes, so the vote carries. That's dispensed with.
There you go. Congratulations.
Congratulations, or may God be with you. I'm not sure which one. So, Chair Board comments. I want to just say, I know I have another month before I roll off, but I thank you for the opportunity to serve. And I wish the best with Theron. I will tell you that I will appreciate the fact that now I do not have to, after January 1, don't have to be muzzled anymore. And so, you know, somebody asked me what I thought about it, and I said, you know, I look for the day when I can say a little more what's on my mind.
I know that.
And I've been a little muzzled, so I appreciate it. So, Mr. Aaron Jackson, I think you'll be an excellent leadership. So,
For what it's worth, I'm looking forward to shutting up.
Well, I want to say something. I think you've been an excellent, remarkable chairperson, all of you that was in a position. You know, I think you've done an excellent job, and whoever, Ms. Jackson, I hope that you will do the same, because you will not shut your mouth up. I know you're a minister, and a minister is not
short of
going to
words.
shut their mouth up. May take up an
You say you
offering.
get paid to talk?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Not here.
I'm not offended.
Dr. Pennywell,
Not here. I know you're
I'm
not
not
going to shut
offended.
your mouth
I'm
up.
not offended.
the chair recognizes Dr. Pennywell. Dr. Pennywell.
No,
I,
he may.
recommended Reverend Jackson. Had nothing to do with your character and you as an individual. I think you're a super guy. We've had a great relationship together. I have a relationship with everybody here. But I just think at times you need to bring in some new energy, and you need to do some things. Because this is business.
Well, the irony is I had that same thought a year ago.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'll tell you more about that later.
All right.
All right? But I had that same thought process about a year ago. And so I appreciate the opportunity. Like I said, I got one more meeting. Go? No.
That's right.
Yeah,
December
one more to go.
7th.
December 7th, the day it will go down in infamy. So look forward to it. Any other comments from the board? Anything? If not, we will adjourn.
Motion to approve.
I have one more, Mr. Andrews. So moved.
You get these stamps, sweetheart?
Yeah, if I run across the street and get mine.